Hi guys, in today's lesson we're going to talk about everything else we need to know about commas. Now last class we talked about different usages that you need to know for the writing section of the SAT, and there were about roughly 6. So before you watch this video, please make sure to review all the usages. The things that we'll be learning today will help you eliminate different answer choices, and the most important lesson will appear at the end, so please watch from the beginning to all the way. The first lesson is this. We do not use a comma after a preposition. And what I mean is, in a sentence, I have a car from Italy, we would not put a comma between the word from, which is a preposition, and the word Italy, which is a noun. Likewise, the comma is not used between an adjective and a noun. For instance, in the sentence, I have a blue car, we will not use a comma to separate the word blue and a car. It's just illogical, right? The third lesson is, and perhaps one of the most important concepts to remember, is that we do not use a comma between an occupation and a name. In the sentence, President Obama is the 44th president, we do not use a comma to separate the president, the occupation, and the name Obama. However, when the order is reversed, like this, the rule is different. We have to use a comma between the name and the occupation. And this usage is actually not limited to occupation. What I mean is, it's exactly the same between a form and a name. What I mean by form is, for example, in the sentence, the TV show Big Bang Theory is fun, the TV show refers to a form or genre, right? Now in this case, we do not use a comma to separate the TV show and the name Big Bang Theory. And this concept applies to movies, books, albums, TV shows, and so many more. In the sentence, the novel Jane Eyre is fun, the rule is exactly the same. We do not use a comma between the form, the genre, and the name. But when the rule is reversed, again, we have to use a comma to separate it like this. Our next lesson is on commas with quotation, and I'll be teaching you strictly for the SAT. First lesson is this. We do not use a comma when the quote is not a complete sentence and is essential to the written sentence. Let's look at the screen. In the sentence, he said that he'll find the man, or the author believes watching TV is beneficial for students. Both quote, the word the man and the word beneficial, are not a complete sentence and is essential to the sentence that is written. What I mean is, we cannot complete the sentence without the quote like this. In this situation, we do not use a comma to separate the quotation. The second rule is using quotation when it's a complete sentence or full idea. For example, in the sentence, the headline the newspaper declared, people in tears embracing the change, or he said, I will find the man. In both sentences, we have to use a comma to separate the quotation. Now, identifying a complete sentence and idea is rather easy. All you have to do is look at the first word in the quotation, and the capitalization will help you identify this. And this brings us to our final lesson of the day. Do you remember in our punctuation basics video, I told you it is important for us to reset that everything we knew of. Now, I want you to understand that the comma can be used before the word that. For example, in the sentence, I eventually bought the book despite his criticism that was controversial. Using comma before the word that here is perfectly fine, and this is because, which brings us to our basic lesson, that there can be multiple different usages of comma within the same sentence. As you can see, the comma here are used to separate the transition, despite his criticism, and it's just another way of writing, despite his criticism, I eventually bought the book that was controversial. Let's review our lesson today. Remember, we do not use a comma after a preposition. The comma is not used between an adjective and a noun. And the comma is not used between occupation and name, as well as other forms or titles. Make sure to review different usage of commas with quotation. And finally, remember that the comma can be used before the word that.